Smart Solutions. Add-on desired.
Hello viewers, welcome to Addod Solution Daily Current Affairs. I'm Lokesh Pengonda. This session is designed for aspirants who are preparing for banking, groups and such other competitive examinations. We cover news articles from both the Hindu and the Indian Express. Make use of this session. Our first article is dealing with the Bru Refugee Rehabilitation. So we'll first see why the Brus became refugees. Brus are the second largest ethnic community living in the state of Mizoram, whereas the largest ethnic community living in the state of Mizoram are Mijos. So we have the Brus, who are also called as Riangs, and they form the second largest ethnic community living in the state of Mizoram. In the year 1997, the Brus, who are the second largest community living in the state of Mizoram, has asked the government to create an autonomous council, and the creation of this autonomous council related proposal was heavily opposed by Mijos, who are the largest ethnic group living in the state of Mizoram. And later ethnic tensions have rose between these two communities, and later ethnic violence have been witnessed between these two communities. So to protect themselves, the Brus or the Riangs has fled from the state of Mizoram, and they have fled to the neighboring state of Tripura. So mainly from the state of Mizoram, we have seen nearly 40,000 Brus or the Riangs flooding and taking refuge in the state of Tripura. This happened in the year 1997, and later on the union government has taken many steps to return these refugees back to their home state. But of the 40,000 people who have fled the home state of Mizoram, only 7,000 or 8,000 have returned to their homes. So a majority of their population who have fled from the Mizoram are staying in the state of Tripura from last 25 years. So we are in currently 2021. So for nearly 25 years they become refugees, and they are living in refugee camps. And the union government finally, with the help of the states of Tripura, the state of Mizoram and the Bru leaders, have come to an agreement. So the state of Tripura, who are the hosting state for the Bru refugees, the state of Mizoram, from where the ethnic tribe of Brus fled away from. Next is the union government. Next is the Bru refugee leaders. So these four groups have finally come together, and they have agreed for a agreement which is talking about the rehabilitation of Bru refugees. The leader of these Brus have accepted that their people will live from now on in the state of Tripura, and they are requesting the union government to provide them some basic amenities and some related expenses. And they have stated that they have no desire to go back to the state of Mizoram. They state that as the union government could not protect them forever and they fear for their lives, they choose to live in the state of Tripura, which is already hosting them from last 25 years. Now we will see this quadripartite agreement. As there are four parties to this agreement, we will call it as a quadripartite agreement. This was signed in the January 2020, and according to this agreement, the Union Home Affairs Ministry will incur all the charges, all the expenditure that would be needed for rehabilitating them in the state of Tripura. So we'll see what all the Bru families will get according to the agreement they have signed. First is they will get a plot of land. Next is they will get a fixed deposit of rupees 4 lakh, and apart from getting land and 4 lakh, they will get free rations and monthly stipend of rupees 5,000 for the next 2 years. In addition to all this, the Union Home Affairs Ministry will give them 1.5 lakh rupees, so that in the land that was given to them, they can construct a house and they can live. So this is a package which is given to each refugee family living in the state of Tripura. And now, as this land and these houses are being constructed in forest areas of Tripura. The National Green Tribunal on a complaint has taken up a case, and it is asking the Tripura government to give the details regarding the rehabilitation. So this article is talking about the Bru Refugee Rehabilitation in Tripura getting hit or being hurdled by the Green Panel, which is the National Green Tribunal. Next, we have an article where the Defense Minister Mr. Rajnath Singh has opened 2 centers of excellence in the road safety. So these centers of excellence are opened in the Border Road Organization's headquarters. So we'll see about the Border Road Organization. This is a body which is coming under the Indian Armed Forces. It is coming under the Indian Armed Forces. What is the objective of this body? From the name itself, you can understand that this will be involved in construction and maintenance of road networks in the border areas of India. So the major function of this body or this organization is to maintain and construct road networks in the bordering areas of India. So what do you mean by road networks? Road networks will involve roads, tunnels, bridges and related infrastructure. And major work the Board and Roads Organization does is within India, and apart from India, it also helps in the creation of infrastructure in neighborhood friendly nations. So in the countries of Nepal, Bhutan, Afghanistan and Myanmar, even in these countries, the Border Road Organization has helped in the creation of road related infrastructure, and now the Defense Minister has opened 2 centers of excellence so that these centers can develop and can help in the construction of roads, bridges, airfields and tunnels. You should know that this Border Road Organization comes under the Ministry of Defense. Next, we have an article where the National Security Guard and the Rashtriya Raksha University has signed an MOU, and according to this Memorandum of Understanding, the Rashtriya Raksha University will support the National Security Guard in strengthening their core competencies, which will include counter-terrorism, counter-improvised explosive devices and anti-hijacking. As this article is mentioning, the National Security Guard and the Rashtriya Raksha University will see a brief about both these organizations. The National Security Guard is an agency which is coming under the Ministry of Home Affairs. It comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs. It is a elite counter-terrorism unit. It is a elite counter-terrorism unit. This is headquartered in New Delhi. So this is with respect to the National Security Guard. When we come to the Rashtriya Raksha University, you should remember that this is India's first ever internal security related educational university. Internal security related educational university, and this university is established in the Gandhinagar, which is in the state of Gujarat. And now both these organizations have come together and they have signed an MOU to help each other out. Next, we have an article where the government is stated that it has launched an online portal to track and enroll children who are out of school. So last year the coronavirus have hit India, and when the COVID pandemic hit India, people, especially the migrants, the daily wage laborers and other petty vendors have suffered a lot financially, and due to this reason their children along with many other children might not go to school. So they might not go to school due to many reasons. So to make these children who are missing their school enroll back into the school, the Ministry of Education has launched a portal. This portal is named as Praband. So Praband is the name of the portal which the Union Ministry of Education has launched to make sure that students who are out of schools would come back and enroll into the schools. And also it is stated that by ensuring that the children's name who are missing out of the school are included in the portal, they can take necessary steps as to make sure that at least age appropriate admissions can be taken. So what is the age appropriate school that can be taken up? Let's assume that there is a student A. Student A is 10 years old. He is 10 years old and he is going to class 6th. And due to the COVID pandemic, the 10-year-old children after completing his 6th standard did not go to school for 1 year. And now he is 12 years old. But still, as he did not go to 7th class, technically he might have to go and study class 7. But many students does not want to go back and take a class which is not suitable for their age. So the government has brought something called as the age appropriate classes. And now the 12-year-old student will be sent to class 8 even though he did not attend the class 7. So how would he understand and learn class 8 syllabus without having basic knowledge about class 7? This will be the work of the school establishment. The school teachers will take more classes and will keep more focus on the person who have missed the 7th standard, so that he can directly study 8th standard and learn the syllabus and learn the curriculum of standard 8. So this is with respect to the Praband portal and the age appropriate admissions for children. Next we have an article where the UNDP, that is the United Nations Development Program, has applauded the Union government's aspirational districts program. So what is the aspirational districts program which has been appreciated by the United Nations Development Program? Aspirational Development Program was launched in the year 2018. Through this aspirational district program, the Union government aims to bring those districts which are relatively backward when it comes to many economic and social parameters, so that these districts can come forward and can be in line with other districts. So we have a total of 117 districts in the country which are backward. So these are backward when it comes to educational and other social parameters, including education, health, agriculture, infrastructure, water facilities. So these are the districts which are relatively backward compared to other states. So to bring these relatively backward states in line with other districts, these are relatively backward districts. So to bring this in line with other districts, the aspirational districts program has been launched by the Union government, and the Union government along with states will keep additional focus and additional funding to these districts. And the Niti Aayog will keep monitoring these aspirational districts so that they can come forward and can be in line with other districts. Next we have an article where a news has come out which is stating that Russia is planning to supply a high-tech satellite to the country Iran. So Russia is planning to supply Iran the Canopus 5 satellite. So Canopus 5 is a Russian made satellite, and this will be launched by the country Russia, but later the functioning and the control of this satellite will be given to the country Iran. Why is Iran taking this satellite from Russia? Iran is planning to use this satellite to improve its monitoring capabilities. So Iran wants to use this to improve its spying capabilities across the West Asia. We have seen how tensions have been rising between the Iran, the Saudi Arabia and the Israel. Iran is getting more amount of enemies in the West Asian countries. So to keep an eye on the West Asian countries and to spy on these countries, the country Iran is taking the Canopus 5 satellite, which is being made and which will be launched by Russian agencies. Next, we have an article where the G7 countries have gathered together and they have pledged 1 billion vaccine doses for the world. This year, the G7 countries have meeting together in person. So, there is an in-person meeting where the leaders of these G7 countries will travel to the United Kingdom, which is hosting this year's G7 countries. And on the first day of the summit, these G7 countries leaders have pledged to donate 1 billion COVID-19 vaccine doses. They pledged that they will give 1 billion COVID-19 vaccine doses to underdeveloped and developing countries so that they can vaccinate their citizens and protect their citizens from the COVID pandemic. Next, we have an article dealing with the Pulitzer Prizes. Pulitzer Prizes are an important awards which are given to United States of America's journalists, TV reporters. Next, we have an article dealing with the Pulitzer Prizes. So what are these Pulitzer Prizes? These are the awards given to achievements in newspapers, online journalism and magazines. So these are the awards given for achievements in journalism and related activities. And this year's Pulitzer Prize for the public service is awarded to the New York Times. So you should remember that it is the New York Times which has received the Pulitzer Prize award in the public service category. Next, we have an article where after getting reports of COVID leak, the IT ministry has asked the certain portal to take a look into this issue. First, we'll see about the COVID. COVID stands for COVID Vaccine Intelligence Network. So, what does this COVID platform do? COVID platform will facilitate all this. You can register and verify the beneficiaries using this portal. You can schedule the inoculation through this portal. The portal will provide you SMS reminding you about the schedule and regarding the following of your dosage. And also, if you have any adverse reaction following the vaccination, then you can raise a complaint here. And also, after you take a vaccine, you can get the vaccine related certificate from the same portal. So from this you can understand that this is a portal relating to the COVID-19 vaccination, and it is stated in the reports that several details which are mentioned in the COVID portal have been leaked. So we'll see what happened later. The Ministry of IT has asked a CERT-IN to look into this issue. So what is this CERT-IN? CERT-IN stands for Computer Emergency Response Team. It stands for Computer Emergency Response Team of India. This is a body which is coming under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So it comes under the MeitY, which is a shortcut for Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. You should note that this certain body is a nodal authority. It is the nodal body relating to the cyber attacks in the country. So this is an important body which is currently looking into the cyber related attacks in the country. Next, we have an article where the Maharashtra state government has stated that it will amend Maharashtra Urban Areas Protection and Preservation of Trees Act 1975 to bring in a concept called as the heritage trees. So what are the heritage trees? The Maharashtra state government has stated that it will amend this act to bring in the heritage trees, which will mean those trees that are above 50 years of age, and are in the urban areas, and according to the proposed amendment, if you want to cut down a heritage tree, you have to bring those number of trees that will be same as the age of the tree. So if you want to cut down a tree in the urban area, and if this tree is 70 years old, then you have to plant at least 70 trees as a compensation. And if you cannot plant 70 trees, you have to pay a huge compensation. This compensation will be dependent regarding the economic value of this tree, and an expert committee will tell you how much you have to pay as a compensation. And with this, we have come to the end of the session. Inform about Addod's initiative to your other aspirant friends, and you can visit our website to attempt MCQs based on day-to-day current affairs. Thank you.
Addod Solutions. Add-on Desires.